Hey there, gang. So today's video features a rather interesting build request from one of my viewers. They wanted me to do what I can to try to make Unbound actually viable and usable within a match. And I'm gonna be honest, gang, I really don't think that's practical, but we did our best. I ended up taking Superior Anatomy, Save the Best for Last, and Rapid Brutality because Unbound kind of is faulted on two areas. Both getting its effect is a little bit difficult. You have to injure a survivor first. And this means that you're not going to be getting really any value from this perk during that first health state. And that matters. Getting that first hit has an impact on where the survivor chains. So if you can't use it for the first health state, it's only going to help you secure that down, right? So that's something to keep in mind. And in order to make it to where getting this effect also wasn't as punishing, because keep in mind, too, like when you hit a survivor, you have that recovery animation. Survivors get their speed boost. So we ended up taking Save the Best for Last and Rapid Brutality. This means that as we build up Save the Best for Last stacks over the course of a match, we can hit a survivor, we can activate Unbound, they can run to a window that would normally be very strong, but against us it doesn't really matter because we're catching up faster with Rapid Brutality. We didn't have to spend as much time being as slow as we would normally be because we had Save the Best for Last. And when they do vault that window, we're going to vault it 40% faster from Superior Anatomy, and we're going to get that extra 5% haste, which means that we can synergize all of these effects either by doing reactionary pink bottles if the window happens to be close to us. If it's not necessarily as close and we've got a little bit of distance to work with, or maybe it chains into something better where I would get the most bottle value, perhaps I would throw a yellow bottle instead. This yellow would then stack with the 5% from Unbound, giving me at base 15% haste for 6 seconds, and of course even longer with add-ons, and that would also help me get the down. So that is kind of the idea we were going with here. However, I will say that you would be better off with these perks taking literally any other option instead of Unbound. Like if you keep Superior Anatomy, Save the Best for Last, and Rapid Brutality, but you could swap Unbound for anything else, you would be better. I would consider taking Coup de Grace. Coup de Grace is probably Clown's best lethality perk. This perk is in its own tier. It is incredible, unparalleled. I run it all the time. This would help you with those post vaults and recoveries with Save and Rapid and Superior Anatomy because you're going to be lunging farther. They won't exactly chain as effectively, and it probably, in essence, will give you more distance covered in the same period of time due to that lunge and that speed effect, right? Because especially since the speed from your yellow bottles, they do stack with Coup. So you could take that. You could also consider taking Dark Arrogance. I think Dark Arrogance is actually a very, very great perk. I normally take it supplementary with Superior Anatomy and in turn with it. You know, we run them in tandem. Dark Arrogance's downside of 25% longer blinds and pallet stuns aren't really that punishing as long as you yourself are making misplays. Getting blinded should not be happening conventionally outside of flashlight saves on when they get someone off your shoulder, and or if you get stunned by a pallet. You're not going to get blinded typically in chase without getting stunned first. So yeah, as long as you don't make the misplay there, you only really should see this as 25% extra vault speed without any other conditions, to activate, and that makes us really good. But while this build itself, running it, was done with the intention of trying to get value out of Unbound, my reason for really wanting to show this video to you guys is the commentary and the macro decision making that I made with regard to winning this match. Because keep in mind, this is a full chase build. We do not have Corrupt Intervention. We don't have Deadlock, Dead Man Switch. We don't have Jolt. We don't have anything to give us any form of mid-game pressure on generators. We don't have anything to give us early game pressure on generators. This is purely about us establishing early micro pressure and then translating that through a quick chase into macro pressure. And we actually were able to do that. Save the Best for Last is very great at just getting tags and then converting off of that into a new survivor onto getting a much faster chase due to the recovery with Rapid Brutality. And even though we were on a very rough map, as y'all are going to see, that really wasn't the problem for us whatsoever, having to deal with the tiles, because we reached a point where Save the Best for Last, and through all of those injuries and the stacks, we just had so much macro pressure. And I want to put emphasis specifically on save, because save is really what this game was about. Focus on the usage of Save the Best for Last stacks, because one way to really view Save the Best for Last, I would say properly, is to view it as a form of currency. We use Save the Best for Last in order to create macro pressure through slugging the obsession. That is the most I'll say with regard to an early spoiler, and only with the purpose of giving you something to focus on when it comes to learning. Try to make the most of these videos as most educational as possible. But beyond that, I think that's just about everything that needs to be said. Summary, I was talking about how even though people don't like going against Legion in 2v8, his power has the most interactivity with than a lot of killers, you know? Because, yeah, injuries and stuff. It's not obvious. One of my problems too, y'all, is saying something with the least words possible. What about AFK Pinky Finger? Think about it. With, like, Rancor and Game Afoot, that would be kind of funny. That actually would be kind of funny. This is so adorable, he thought I don't know my timings. We didn't get Superior. Probably could have pinked it, but I'm not gonna lie. Ooh, actually, the yellow's way better, because we know he's gonna look to play pre-drop. He's gonna go around. He's gonna vault in. Do you know why I knew he was gonna vault when he did? Do you know how I do? With 100% certainty? Because of red stain manipulation. I knew exactly when he saw my red stain, and I knew that's what he was looking for specifically to determine when he would vault. So once I knew he got the glimpse, just the glimpse of the red stain, that's when I commit to the other side for the hit to catch him on the animation lock. Because that's how you get those hits, animation locks. When the survivor quite literally cannot undo a mistake. They commit to a decision, and they're stuck with that decision. Non-obsession, so I'll commit to this. Dude. I mean, you're just more STBFL stacks, do you know what I mean? He has yellow, by the way. And so that means he can also see me. Oh, wow, I actually didn't think he's gonna go all the way. I could've, oh, yeah, sit the fuck down, dipshit. Come on, this way if he DS's me. If he has DS and OTR, you're precious. Okay, I was about to say, if you have like DS and OTR for making that kind of play. Oh, there's a block. Dude, I'm so stupid, I don't even know this map. Bruh. Bruh, there's no excuse for that. I'm so bad at this game. Oh, man. This is why I take Sanctions, y'all. Holy shit. Where are you gonna loot back? You literally have to be... No, you're not. Interesting. That's fine. Bro, I should... Oh, here we go. Perfect. Take me off the Zanch and see what happens. I'm actually gonna slug. This is gonna sound really weird, right? But I'm slugging for macro because we know where two survivors are gonna... Oh my gosh. 3 survivors, actually. Because I'm gonna get these stacks back, right? We're gonna get the stacks back. He's got no window right there. Got a little clown's laugh. Yeah, I know, right? I think this build might get a lot on this map. Oh, it definitely, with the windows, yeah. That has more potential if I don't play like a bum. So if they're gonna pick up the slug, that tells me they're over here. Oh, they're healing. Oh, he actually... I hear his footsteps. He's going around. We're gonna go back now still. Some of you might be wondering, like, this is like probably a very strange usage of my STBFL stacks, but do you notice how everybody's injured? Wow, I actually missed. That's fine. I'm actually gonna slug her, slug him too, because we have STBFL and she's in a corner.
He's going wide. This is such a risky decision. Might commit to him because he is on Death Hook and we have 3 gens remaining. He has to pre-drop this. I expect him to go left. Can I make this? Maybe. He was intoxicated. No fucking way, dude. Oh, that was so dumb. Oh, wow. My man thinks I'm kicking that. No way that doesn't pink. How long it takes to get invigoration? I think 2 seconds. Damn, y'all are still trying to get that gen done, huh? So they went to heal. He's injured. This may be a time where I actually do hook him, by the way. That's fine. Same thing there with the red stain, by the way. We flicked the red stain, he vaulted. I especially noticed how panicky he was, and I knew that would make it even more easier. We're gonna hook right here because it's closer to the corner. The hook on him doesn't actually matter. It's the fact that we can pull out one of these other survivors. That's why I didn't hook him previously, because it wasn't gonna be worth it. Well, similarly, we still slugged him because we needed to have them, we had to need to have a target for the other survivors to go to while they were also injured as well. Okay, so they went to do main. I think that's a 2-man on main. I'm gonna go ahead and just kick this. We're gonna try to see if we can cut them off a bit. If you don't see cigar box, that tells you that 16 meters. You've got a good little 16-meter buffer. He's coming around left. They may try to actually tap this. They're not. I'd red stain because I think he's gonna be looking left. Go all the way around. They don't have enough gen progress for this to matter, so unless he's like a flashbang or some dumbass shit. I'm gonna go and check behind me, because I feel like they want to get this gen done. I feel like, okay, so she actually hasn't snuck. Good to know, good to know. This isn't worth committing to. Now that I see what's going on this side of the map, we're gonna go back. There she is. She probably went to tap first. Definitely. Interrupting the unhook. Hold on, I need to think proper. Bro, ain't no fucking way he unhooks beforehand. He hit second. Beautiful. So is it this one? No? Okay. Still regressing, actually. That is really, really good to know. Oh. I mean, he hit second anyways. Missed! Perfect. That's actually all I needed. That's all I needed with my haste. Perfect. That's all we needed. Like I never did before. Well, thank you. I'm glad you like it. We're still not done yet, though, so we gotta lock in the rest of this. They're gonna probably be over here. I have a feeling Ace went to do Jin this way. We haven't seen any rotation from Ace on this side of the map after Yui. I have a feeling they wanted to group up for this. No. Oh, wow. My man had a cute-ass dead hard. We're not gonna kick or anything. We're gonna go back. This is such a good decision, I think, on my part, because personally, because we know he's gonna be here. We know he's gonna be on Death Hook here. I'm kind of watching left. Actually, I think he went... I think that's him right there. We caught him. We caught him early enough. He's gonna want to take the fence on the far right. The pink this way. He's gonna try comp cornering, but there's enough gens done to where this isn't enough. I'm gonna go ahead and yellow at this point because we only have one bottle left after this anyways. Yui has to go pick up the obsession. Otherwise, we can just get a kill into him, right? That basically locks in our 3K. It forces her off the gen, and it locks in our 3K if she doesn't go pick him up. And if I really wanted to, if I wanted to secure the 4K in the event that I catch her because she chooses not to do that, that means I secure not just a 3, but a 4. So that's one of the really... So you gotta sometimes just know when to slug and who to slug. And this is not something I do very often, slugging this gratuitously. But yeah, look at that. It appears to partially be doing for us. I'm gonna go ahead and kick this. She went to heal first, I think. That's fine. If I were him, I would probably rotate toward main. Maybe? Yeah, what'd I tell you? I wouldn't be going to houses, I would be going toward main building. I'm gonna put him on the same hook back here. This is such, I think, a better position, because this is like with the doors being kicked, with our window perks. It's very little she's gonna likely be able to do, or he's gonna be able to do to get out of here, let alone she getting in here, right? This gen's fully regressed, but when that gen had like half progress plus, or was even close to completion, I can't remember how close it was very far along. And there's the 3K. Can we find Yui? I have a feeling she's actually in main. Question is where? Yeah, she wouldn't be in the lockers. She'd be hunting for Hatch. Oh, that's fine. GG's. 3K's really good. Damn, look at that. Self-care left behind. They were looking to get the exit any means no matter what. Oh shit, she had left behind and she got Hatch. Okay, makes sense. Well, it makes sense why he was on the ground then. She's like, no, I gotta get my Hatch escape, you know? Damn, 2 of them had left behind, I just noticed. Couple Hatch go. So like I mentioned previously, Unbound is just not a good perk. One would figure that Badham is actually a really good map for it too, given that you have these windows at the main building, you have Killer Shack, even I think if you leave some of the doors up for the right opportunities, we ended up kicking them due to other different circumstances, but if one plays the windows, we ended up playing one of the windows too, right? One would figure that Unbound in a vaulting build would actually be good, except it wasn't. Because in the 2 critical vaults that we took, because we needed to take the vault and there was really like no other better play, either Unbound just didn't do anything, which was when we were at one of the small houses, or at Killer Shack, we just didn't even have it active because the survivor we were chasing was already injured.
And that basically accentuates the problem that I talked about earlier when it comes to Unbound, is that Unbound requires you to take a health state and then it gives you this brief period of time where it's active. If it was where you just hit a survivor once and then it's active until you use it, that would make it even so much better than it currently is. It's just right now, when you play especially into this play style, right, that we did, we're running save the best for last and rapid, which is really good for slugging, especially when you need to slug in the position that we were in. Well, it turns out now that because all the survivors for the most part are going to be injured, you're not going to be able to activate Unbound for whenever you're chasing them. We chased Bill at Killer Shack. We vaulted with Superior. We came really damn close to hitting him. But what happened? We couldn't get the hit because we didn't have Unbound. If I had taken Dark Arrogance, if I had taken Coup, right? If I had a stack of Play With Your Food, because that was one perk I didn't mention earlier, by the way. If we had taken Play With Your Food, we had done a lot better at those vaults. And Unbound basically did literally nothing for us this game. You look at the builds the survivors had, they had some pretty good builds. We have double DS on Ace and Veto, dead hard on the Ace, which, by the way, we almost ate too. And, you know, if we didn't actually go for the William first, we probably would not have had a stable tunnel out with our build and the lack of generator perks in order to secure winning through conventional manners, because we wouldn't have been able to tunnel the Veto, we wouldn't have been able to tunnel the Ace. Tunneling the Veto, and given that he wasn't the obsession, if we ate the decisive strike, that shifts the obsession to him. Now we start losing save the best for last stacks. We could then go for Ace, but by that point the momentum is too far lost. You can't just decide now you're going to start tunneling a different person because they're not the obsession, especially since he has DS. So if we then got the DS from the Ace, he's now the obsession, and oh man, there we go, right? Like, the game would be over genuinely by that point when you look at pacing and macro momentum, I guess one could call it, right? Just the flow of the survivor's objective. And yeah, our way of winning best was what we chose to do. We slugged with save the best for last and rapid brutality. And understanding this best is a level of understanding save the best for last that a lot of people don't really grasp. See, a lot of people see save the best for last as very binary, very like they have this narrow-minded view of it. They see it as a perk that helps you finish one chase very quickly. Right, like you hit a survivor once, you take the quick recovery with rapid brutality, you get the down, boom, quick chase, right? Save the best for last goes so much deeper than that. It's not just about getting regular injuries as well. We specifically played into the positioning of the survivors, the overall spread of injuries across the survivors, and also just the people we had on hook, and being able to catch the Ace out. There is a very specific reason why I did not hook the Ace. Hooking the Ace probably would have lost us the game. All it does is enable DS. All it does is enable Dead Hard. He wasn't able to really use Dead Hard into such a point in the game where it didn't matter. We had already killed Bill by that point. And slugging him meant that we could then just leave him on the ground and then go look to pressure the other injured survivors. See, if we're not looking to establish a tunnel out, an early tunnel out, or just the possibility of changing targets, then hooking Ace genuinely did not do anything for us at that point in the match besides hurt us, given how much it hurts our mobility and our macro. We're already limited in that regard, it hurts us more. When you have all these survivors injured, the last thing you want to be doing is not pressuring them, splitting them up, stopping them healing. They don't even have any med kits. They don't have, I think Yui is the only person who has any form of self-healing. She has self-care, and she brought the BNP toolbox. These survivors need to group up when we got our injuries in order for them to reset. So this means hooking the Ace did not help us whatsoever. What did it cost us for the slug pressure? 2 stacks of save. And I talked about this. I talked about this literally as we got our first set. I said, we're going to get these stacks back later. I saw, and I still see in a lot of ways when it comes to macro, save the best for last is a form of currency. You treat your stacks literally like, you could say like dollar bills, you know, because you trade in 2 stacks for a health state. I sometimes do this when a survivor is healthy and I have very high stacks, but sometimes even when you've got a medium number of stacks, yeah, it's still worth it going from, like, let's say 4-2 or 5-3 if you've got every other survivor injured, and you know that if you slug the ace, that you've probably got at least another 25-30 seconds of pressure of him being on the ground before you go for another survivor, and then that survivor you happen to go through has already been hooked, and then by doing that, you also stop them from healing their teammate, and then by hooking them, you now create macro pressure, and or by either killing them or having that hook, right? It goes so much farther, and that's what we did. That's what we did. We downed ace once, we then went back and hooked the bill, and then what happened was we went and found the ace, we downed the ace, and then we went back and we hooked, I think, the veto or the Yui, and then we went back and we downed the ace, and then I think we hooked him one time, right? Bill, as I think, or may have actually been hooked one more time in between, but we kind of ping-ponged between just slugging ace. I think he bled out for over half of his timer because it genuinely hurt me every time. If I would have hurt me if I went to hook him. And the survivors, because of how quickly we were able to just consistently keep downing him, especially I think at one point where we downed Yui on top of him as well, it was just so much crazy macro pressure to just leave him on the ground, think to ourselves, -2 stacks, we'll get him back later, win through attrition by just slowly hooking and taking out the non-obsessions. Because as long as we don't actually worry about hooking ace, we don't have to worry about the dead hard, we don't have to worry about the decisive. I think the only time we saw dead hard come into play was at the very, very, very end of the match. We'd already killed Bill, we'd already killed Vito. We're basically playing for 3K condition at that point at minimum, which is usually when you have one generator remaining very free. You just hook the survivor, camp them out, right? So we were pretty much at that point. That's too late. And he missed it either way, right? So GG's. We won off of that. And that's the reason why I'm spending all this time even doing this commentary and putting this into focus, because yes, even though this was a build specifically ran for Unbound, this game, our win, hinged entirely off of Save and Rapid. Save and Rapid were only there to facilitate the value from Unbound in tandem with Superior, and yet Unbound was irrelevant, Superior was semi-useful, and we won entirely off of Rapid and Save the Best for Last. So when you look at a build like this and which perks to really run in your builds, I would definitely say Save the Best for Last and Rapid are probably the main takeaways or perks you should look to run. Superior Anatomy is pretty good, especially, as I said, with Dark Arrogance. You could also run something like Coup, or even play with your food because you've got Save the Best for Last. I love play with your food and save because you're able to just break chase immediately, get that stack, transition with Save and Rapid, and you're not really losing that haste, given when you lose play with your food, you are gaining Rapid through that health state. So really, really cool stuff going on there. These survivors played very well. I do think that had I played differently, given the map itself and the skill of their chases, had they gotten the reset, I probably might not have won this game. So, you know, good job to them. I think that just about wraps everything up, though, so I hope y'all found this commentary to be very educational and insightful. I want to go really, really far out with this one because I feel like a macro gameplay on Clown is one of the hardest parts to grasp. Clown is a killer that, given that he is so micro-dependent, you have to really kind of go outside the box when it comes to understanding the proper macro decision-making. So hopefully this helps people that, you know, struggling in that area. If you're interested in learning how to play Clown better, both in micro and macro, actually, I've got a very detailed Clown guide that I'll be sure to link in the description. And lastly, I stream live on Twitch during the weekdays, typically Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. I do a lot of my editing on Wednesdays, so I'll have a link to my stream in the description as well. Feel free to come by and interact with me, chat with me, ask questions, etc., etc. If you found this video helpful, by the way, I normally don't do this, but I probably should start getting into it. You know, make sure to like and subscribe. Believe it or not, it helps out a lot with the algorithms. A lot of people I notice, like when they do their whole spiel, they don't really say that, but I'll go ahead and say it. Yeah, you know, if you liked it, you know, and you like this content, I post 5 videos a week, and it does help a lot with the algorithm and pushing the videos out. So I appreciate that. And other than that, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all next time. Later, gang.